welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. I'm Beth Sewald. I'm the President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. I also serve on the Chamber of Commerce Committee of 100 by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We're so thrilled to be with everybody today. Today we're here to show our appreciation for the military spouses of Southern Nevada. This talent pool is often overlooked when employers go to hire folks. We're going to let you know why you should be actively recruiting military spouses. So get ready. This is going to be a great session. I want to thank our partner in putting together this webinar, Workforce Connections, our local workforce development board. They are tremendous partners, and we're so honored to be able to work with them. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we introduce our panel. If you have any questions during the presentation today, please type them into the Q&A, the question and answer box. We'll answer the questions at the end of today's presentation. We definitely want to get to everybody's questions. Our panelists today include employers from Sonoma, Resorts World, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation Hiring Our Heroes, and a military spouse, of course, who is moving to the Las Vegas Valley. So exciting. All right, now I'm proud to introduce you to Liz Larson with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation Hiring Our Heroes. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Mary Beth. Thanks so much. I am excited to be with y'all today. I am an Army spouse, and I'm the Director of Community Events and Programs for Hiring Our Heroes, HOH. Of course, we have the acronym. And HOH is part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. It launched the initiative in March 2011 as a nationwide effort to connect veterans, service members, and military spouses with meaningful employment. And our goal is to create a movement across America in hundreds of communities where veterans and military families live and also work. The Hiring Our Heroes Military Spouse Program is dedicated to impacting military spouse employment and also underemployment by aligning with the HOH strategies of grassroots engagement and public-private partnerships. Our Mil Spouse program provides professional development and networking opportunities in local communities where Mil spouses live, and also partners with employers, other service organizations, local installations, and also those county, civic, state, and federal programs, all of them who focus on employment. So what do we know about military spouses? Well, we know that military spouses are more highly educated than most working Americans. In fact, 88% of military spouses have post-high school education, and 34% have a college degree, and 15% have postgraduate degrees. So military spouses are masters of adaptability, ingenuity, and perseverance. Of course, that's due in part to the impact that life as an active duty military spouse has on their personal and their professional endeavors. As the military lifestyle requires flexibility and resilience, military spouse backgrounds often include transferable skills and experience in a variety of the roles that they have and also different industries. So in short, military spouses make great employees. I want to highlight two of our Mil Spouse programs that connect employers with the incredible talent pool of military spouses, again, in the local community. The first is the Military Spouse Economic Empowerment Zone program. Of course, we call them affectionately MCs, and they facilitate collaboration between local and national employers, educational institutions, and community resources. MCs build robust employment networks for military spouses and develop workforces across the United States. We are so fortunate to have an MCs dedicated to Southern Nevada to support the military spouses in this area. The other program is our Military Spouse Professional Network program, MSPN, and they have over 60 plus locations worldwide, and of course, including Nevada. So these networks are led by military spouse professionals in the community and supporting spouses by mentoring, providing career-focused workshops and networking events with employers. Our MC's working group members support the MSPN by hosting workshops, presenting on employment topics, reviewing resumes, posting their open positions, and also attending networking events. So for more information, how you can become involved in Southern Nevada with either our MCs or MSPN, please contact us. I believe there'll be a slide with our organization to contact. And also I'll put any information in the chat box. And back to you, Mary Beth.
Thank you, Liz, so much for that great introduction to hiring our heroes. We really appreciate all the work you guys are constantly doing. So thank you again. And thank you for your service as a military spouse as well.
Thank you.
We know that employers are hiring. We know that it comes up every day at the Vegas Chamber, and we're all excited for the opening, of course, of the newest resort on the Las Vegas Strip, and that would be Resorts World. Our next panelist is a talent acquisition manager for that new property, Syreeta Ellis. Hi, Syreeta.
Hi, Mary Beth. Thank you. Resorts World Las Vegas is in a unique situation as we are opening a new mega resort here in Las Vegas. While we are new to the Las Vegas market, we are a part of Genting family, a much larger organization that has a diverse portfolio, including hospitality, plantations, property development, technology and life science, and biotechnology. Our workforce needs include the hiring of 7,500 people. This includes those employed by Resorts World Las Vegas and our partners. We will engage technology in all job classifications and believe that every member of our team is an ambassador and is essential to the success of our company. We expect all team members to take personal ownership in ensuring everything they do is the best interest of the company, and that we'll adhere to all our 5 core, non-negotiable core responsibilities. And I'll just go through the 5 responsibilities. Everyone is an ambassador. No matter where you are at Resorts World Las Vegas, it is your responsibility to treat this property like you would your own home. No one gets hurt. Everyone feels secure. The environment is clean, and every guest gets that what they need. The next is everyone works in safety. If you have a safety concern, it is your responsibility to address it by correcting it or notifying the appropriate department or individual. Everyone works in security. If you see something, it is your responsibility to say something. You must notify the appropriate department or individual if you feel there is a security concern. Everyone works in EVS. If there is trash on the floor, it is your responsibility to pick it up. If it is a mess that needs more attention, it is your responsibility to notify the appropriate department or individual. And everyone works in guest experience. If a guest needs assistance, it is your responsibility to assist that the guest and do what it is to make them smile. If the guest needs more assistance than you can provide, the responsibility is to notify the appropriate department or individual. So here at Resorts World Las Vegas, we are introducing our military initiative called Honor. That is spearheaded by my executive director, Lori Calderon. With this initiative, we will continue to support our heroes who support our heroes. And if I could, I would just like to share a successful military spouse story with you. In my previous employer, I hosted an event for military spouse and veteran hiring. And I met this couple. The husband was Army, and the wife just came literally in for support. So after speaking with them both, I was super excited about extending an opportunity to the wife, because she was very enthusiastic, very optimistic, and very encouraging, and actually what we were looking for the position. So it was a temp position, and I presented it to her and let her know, but she was willing to step into that role with no questions asked. So a few years later, she is still with me, and now in a full-time position. So I just want to continue to support this initiative and continue to hire our military spouses. Thank you.
Oh, Syreeta, gosh, thank you for that for that great story. It's just amazing, and it is so typical, as you point out, of military spouses and their enthusiasm. So, thank you for letting us know all about Resorts World. We're super excited for Resorts World, and thanks for giving us that insight on how military spouses bring value to your staff as well.
Absolutely.
Hospitality, as we Yes, ma'am. Hospitality is not the only industry that can benefit from tapping into the military spouse talent pool, as we know. Our next panelist is Josh Layton, a recruiting manager with Williams Sonoma. Hey, Josh, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thanks, Mary Beth. And hey, thank you to everybody that showed up today. Any of the military spouses that are here, we really appreciate you beyond measure. And thanks again. And Military Spouse Month and Military Spouse Appreciation Day is on my calendar every month, and I look forward to it. So if nobody's really too terribly familiar about Williams Sonoma, I'm not quite sure how you may not be, but we've been in business for 60 years, and we're a high-end retail company that basically provides home furnishings to kitchen utensils to everything else in between tied to the home. So really high-end products. We've got 8 separate sub companies. I'm sure you're probably familiar with a few of them: Pottery Barn, West Elm, Mark and Graham. We are in incredible growth mode right now. COVID actually treated us very well. We did see a major shift in spending last year from our consumers. And so the double-digit growth for all brands has put us in a very good financial place right now. So as far as the stability of coming on board to our company, there's not a better time to actually join the Williams Sonoma family. So, but to really kind of speak on behalf of the military spouses in particular, we rolled out a military spouse employment basically partnership plan 4 years ago, where we partnered specifically with the MSEP program from Washington, D.C. And it's just working with a lot of our partners, local partners, obviously hiring our heroes. The chamber's been amazing. Everybody's just been so supportive when it comes to helping us find you. And so just to give you an example of one in particular that really kind of hits at the heart is we brought on board a military spouse. It was about 3 years ago. She was PCSing from Hawaii to Nevada. Didn't really know anybody here. We got connected through the Family Readiness Center, and she's now been on our team. She started actually seasonally and has now been on the team for 3 years. She's also PCS to 2 different locations too as well. And she's currently living in Georgia and was recently promoted to a business sales supervisor role. And she's incredibly well respected. And the one of the biggest values that we've had from our military spouses throughout the years too is, again, just the flexibility of some of the oddball schedules we have, some of the demands we have. If you're familiar with retail, there's a lot of that ambiguity. They just roll with it, and they do that very, very well. And not to mention too, the diverse skill set that they bring to the table. Very highly educated, and there's not a better network out there too as well. I mean, our military spouses refer a lot of military spouses to us. It makes our life easy, and what not better to work with your friends and your family and your fellow partners than bringing in referral sources. So I can't say much more when it comes to just our appreciation with our military spouse community. And being that today is Military Spouse Appreciation Day and obviously Military Spouse Appreciation Month, we wanted to announce to basically our Vegas Valley and the 14 states we currently operate from that we have a hiring initiative of hiring 400 military spouses this year. And currently we hired last year 223, and we easily think we can double that based on our partnerships, your help, and everything else in between. So we're really excited to announce that, and we got some really good programs in place to support that too as well. So again, thank you all so much. Really appreciate this, and let's make this happen. So back to you, Mary Beth.
You're right, Josh. Let's make this happen. That's amazing that you're going to be hiring that many, filling that many more positions and hiring our military spouses. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
All right, now we want to learn more about the military spouse community right here in Southern Nevada. And so now I want to introduce you to our volunteer with Hiring Our Heroes, Ms. Megan Bosworth. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Mary Beth. Thank you so much for having me. As Mary Beth said, or maybe didn't say, I am an active duty military spouse, and I am the network lead for MSPN here in Southern Nevada. MSPN really came into existence because they saw a need for military spouses who were trying to keep a career and even move forward in their career. And that need was about 80% of jobs, or even some surveys say more, are found through referral and networking. When you're a military spouse moving every 2 to 3 years, you don't necessarily have the advantage of having that built-in network in your industry. So we are trying to alleviate that problem. Here in Southern Nevada, we are so lucky to have a robust network of over 450 active members, and even more in the community. And we have been surveying them, trying to find out, where they are in their career, what industries they're in, and it's a wide variety, so many. They have so much experience, so much education to share, and over 70% of them are actually looking for jobs currently. So if you are looking to help build up your workforce in the next few months as things start to finally return to normal, this is really a great place to look. We look forward to hearing from you guys and sharing the opportunities with our network.
Oh, Megan, thank you so much for that great overview. We really appreciate all that you do. We know that you work so hard, so thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, last but certainly not least, and I think she wins the prize for the most amazing background today. I want to introduce everybody to Vernita Beach. She's married to a member of the military, and she's about to move here to Las Vegas. So Vernita, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Vegas.
Thank you so much, Mary Beth, and thank you everyone for allowing me to be on the panel today and to speak. Yes, I have been a military spouse for 19 and a half years. I graduated a very long time ago with a degree in technical and professional writing. I was valedictorian, and I really strove because I wanted to be a reading specialist. However, my life as a military spouse led me down a different career path, and I'm currently working on a master's degree in clinical social work at Florida State. And as soon as I graduate, we are moving to Ellis and the wonderful Las Vegas community, and I'm really excited about that. Like many military spouses, I am used to being thrown into new environments and having to adapt pretty quickly. Our very first base, I worked as a CSE technician with special education, and that was in Japan. So we were there for 6 years before moving to Italy. We were in Italy for 3 years, but it's very difficult for spouses to have employment there because of the agreement with the country. Most of the jobs went to local nationals. So I did have fitness certifications. So I taught Zumba, I taught strength training, I taught turbo kick and Pilates. And so I was able to work just a little bit on base, but it was really difficult to work there. From Italy, we moved to Alaska. We were in Alaska for 6 years. And I went back to education because, like I said, I wanted to be a reading specialist. And so I worked in education for 3 years before someone who was on my salsa team said, you know what, you need to work in military family support. Just seeing your personality and how you work with others, this is what you need to do. So I worked for the Family Assistance Center for the Alaska National Guard. Absolutely loved it. We worked with Guard members and we identified gaps in services in the community. And from there, I ended up being co-chair of a coalition that worked with service members, veterans, and their families. So I was a community capacity builder, and I was able to really help my community, especially with employment. Absolutely loved that job. And unfortunately, we had to move. And so then we were off to England for 3 years. And so in England, I was able to still work with the military community. I worked with the base chapel as well as Airmen and Family Readiness because it is definitely my passion to help others. And I feel like my experience as a military spouse is common, but unfortunately, it's something that employers may shy away from because we often have long resumes, we have gaps in employment, and we have a very diverse work history. But as Liz mentioned, military spouses are flexible, which makes us a great asset to any team We are often well educated. We are very well qualified. We're also creative. We're willing to learn, and we're able to work in new positions. I feel like military spouses are excellent multitaskers. We're critical thinkers. We are able to take the initiative. We are dependable, and we are efficient. Our ability to work in diverse environments is an important skill set because it can help employers gain a fresh and new perspective. Military spouses often excel in positions that require managing projects, managing conflicts, and any task that involves gathering and analyzing. Because we are able to deal with stress. Let me tell you, I moved from England to Florida in the middle of a pandemic. So you want to talk about stressful. But honestly, I feel like my life as a military spouse has helped me to cope with stress in various ways. I feel like military spouses, like myself when I moved to Nellis, we're looking for jobs that value a wide range of skills, jobs where we can gain a great amount of experience that's transferable in many aspects, because oftentimes we will be moving. We don't know when we're moving most of the time. Well, I know I'll be in Nellis for quite a while because my husband is retiring. Yay. But we do look for jobs where we're able to gain transferable skills. We also look for positions where we're able to help others because we love the communities that we go to, and we love being able to reach out and to help other spouses in particular. So thank you.
That's great, Syreeta, or Vernita, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for that. And you brought up something that's already come up in the question and answer box. We're gonna go ahead and take some questions now. Just a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the question box. We wanna make sure we get to everybody. Vernita, you brought up the fact that folks, you have to move around a fair amount. So the question is, I understand that skills that military spouses can bring, a lot of skills that y'all bring to the table. And I would open this up to anybody. The question is, what about when the active military members have to be transferred? And then how would you recommend that the employers, handle that? And I would address that to any of our panelists today. Josh, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take that one. So depending on where they transfer, they can actually take their job with them, which is nice. Currently, we're operating out of 14 states right now. That's growing more and more every year. But let's say hypothetically they can't, right? Let's say they move to, I don't know, New York or something like that, where we don't currently have care center operations. So I work very tight with the Military Spouse Employment Partnership that has over 500 nationwide partners too. And I'm connected personally with about 5 or 6 that do very similar work to us. So work from home, customer service, daytime hours, not obscure night work or anything like that, similar pay. And basically I have an onboarding program we're putting together right now that's going to give these resources to the military spouses. So heaven forbid, if they do get those papers and they do have to transfer, they're going to have a packet of resources for them ready and waiting for them. And then I do soft intros too as well to a variety of other companies and say, hey, listen, if I can't take care of them, I got to have one of my partners take care of them. So we have an ambassador program that we have together here in Williams, Sonoma too as well. Very small team, but we're planning on growing that. We have 3 current military spouses that are also just great resources from each location. And so I always say, if there's something I don't have an answer to, you guys know you better than I know you. I get them connected just with the right point of contact. But really, I say if they over communicate when we know what's going on, we typically can put together a pretty good plan for their transition to wherever they're going.
Excellent. And Vernita,
Yeah.
I didn't cut you off. It seemed like you had a comment, Vernita, as well.
Oh yeah, well no, that's okay. I was just going to say that sometimes, I have friends who've been in one base for 10 years, and so it really is. Sometimes you're in a base for 3, sometimes you're there for 10, sometimes you're there for 2. But I wouldn't want that to hinder employers from hiring military spouses.
Gotcha. Okay. Another question we have in the chat box. Let's see here. Okay. How do you think the new virtual world we live in will help military spouses with employment? The new virtual world, that could make a big difference.
Unmute. I can jump in there with that, which was on my mind, talking about what if we transfer. There's portability opportunities. There's been that before, but obviously with the virtual world we're all living in now, it has increased employer confidence in the remote work. I think before, even as with HOH, we tried to make that case about remote employees, but now it's been proven without a doubt. And I think it is immensely going to help military spouses, and already has, with productivity. There's results there. They're seeing it firsthand. We had a lot of employers who just didn't even want to think about the possibility of someone, a spouse moving, or any employee moving some elsewhere and taking the position with them. But I think we have come so far, and we're going to continue to build on that, even when we go back in person, to continue to remind employers of the success they've had with remote employees in the last year. So I think it's only going to get better and better.
I would agree, totally agree with that. Did anybody else want to weigh in on that question before we move to the next one? Okay. Syreeta, this next question, I'd like to kind of pose to you. Resorts World, you've demonstrated a great ability and desire to hire military and military spouses. What advice would you give to any other local employers who want to support this effort and maybe they're just not sure about it?
I would say if you want hard work completed, if you want someone who is going to be flexible, and someone who is going to be loyal to and committed to whatever project you give, then you would definitely want to tap into the military spouse community, because again, I'm working side by side right now with actually 2 military spouses, and they're very dependable, and I can and definitely tap into their knowledge to assist with any other projects that I have going on. So definitely, if you want to be successful in what you're doing, you should definitely tap into that community.
Yeah, absolutely. And this next question I'll pose to Megan. As a community, how can we help lower the unemployment rate for military spouses in Southern Nevada? And why, Megan, is that so important?
So I think a couple of ways that you could help military spouses find employment. They're obviously actively looking. They want jobs. They want to be working. I think it's most helpful to be understanding of their life situation. They will probably move. Yes, they may need some schedule flexibility, especially depending on their partner's schedule and whatever else is going on at home. But they will work hard for you, and they will make it work. So I think just having some understanding and being open to the idea of military spouses shows such a huge or is just so encouraging to those who are looking for work. And then you'll have to refresh me on what the second part of your question was. I apologize.
Well, I was just saying, why is that so important for us to help lower the unemployment rate for military spouses in Southern Nevada?
Yeah, so military spouses are unemployed at a rate of 3 to 4 times the normal population. And like others have said in this panel, we are highly educated, we are hardworking, we have a ton of experience. We want to be here. We want to be contributing to this community. We want to be a part of this community. And having those, opening up those positions to military spouses, really reaching out and finding those military spouses, connecting them with the right employment, does so much for the military community. It actually helps, it encourages military members to stay in longer. It helps with the mental health and resilience of the military, the whole military family. You're doing more than just hiring a military spouse, you're helping the entire family and the entire community.
Well, and that's such a great point. And that was sort of a question leads into something I was going to ask Vernita. I know military families who they've followed the military member's career for many, many years. And like Vernita said, the spouse's career gets put on hold, whether it's the wife or the husband. And so when a spouse is unemployed, how does that affect the member of the military and that family?
Oh my goodness. So this is definitely something that I have experience with just from the Family Assistance Center, as well as the Airmen and Family Readiness Center, and myself, because I'm currently not working since I am interning for my master's in social work. I can't work and intern. And so it does put a lot of stress upon the military member because they're worried about providing for their family. And oftentimes, sometimes they will pick up second jobs because it's a lot easier for the military member to get hired than it is for the spouse at times. And so sometimes it can create like a power shift in the family when the spouse can't work. Sometimes spouses do choose not to go to the assignment, especially if the assignment is overseas. Spouses will choose to stay stateside. And so being able to find meaningful employment is extremely important for military spouses.
Yeah, I think you went on mute, Vernita, there at the end, but yeah, it's extremely important. And you brought up some things I actually hadn't thought about. And I know that it's hard to do the long distance relationship thing, but when a spouse doesn't want to move or can't move, that puts a whole new level of stress on the family. Definitely. All right, Josh, let's go over to you. I know at Williams-Sonoma, you all you have a great in-house program, and you're doing so much to try to have some standard operating procedures, I think, for hiring military and spouses. What message would you have for other employers when it comes to, creating sort of an in-house process systems like you all do?
Yeah, that's a good question. Just don't give up on it. Because you're going to have bumps in the road. Some support more than others, and it's not necessarily because they don't support it. It takes a village, and once you have a core group that stands behind it, it makes life a lot easier. But for us, being that we're opening more and more states, really, again, I'm trying to kind of build a personalized onboarding program for our military spouses. Just to give you an example, like we just got access to Idaho and Virginia. Well, I now have to make basically connections in Idaho and Virginia for a variety of different resources, because when we bring on somebody from those new states, I want them to have their own personalized onboarding packet that says, oh, you need connections to the local family readiness center. Here's going to be your point of contact. You need connections with I don't know, a mortgage broker that specializes in VA loans. Here's your connection. So we really want this to be kind of a white glove experience for the military spouses. And we are not perfect. We make mistakes. I'm the first to raise my hand when we do, but it's a program that's ever evolving and ever changing. And for us, it's just been such a big benefit that it's just hard for me to believe that other employers wouldn't want to, tap into this market, or at least heavily focus in this market. And it sounds a little cheesy, but for me, it's also just doing the right thing. I've got a very soft spot for our military. I've got family that's in the military. I've got very close friends that have gone through a lot of challenges in the military, and what they do to provide for us is just like, people don't get sacrificed until they're, in a situation like that. And I just feel it's my duty to just do the best I possibly can. And, with the avenue we have with the company that's supporting this, again, it's kind of my civic duty to just do the right thing and try to support this demographic. So, and again, so far it's been working great. So why not continue to build on it more and more? And again, the referral sources and just the results from it too have just been amazing. They're amazing performers. I mean, constantly get some of our highest customer satisfaction scores. So again, why not build on something that's working?
Yeah, Josh, I'm just so impressed with you and what you're doing at Williams-Sonoma. And you're right, it is just the right thing to do. And you're a poster child, I think, for how our other businesses could model you. And I think Liz might have a question as well.
I do. Josh and Syreeta, first, thank you so much for what you obviously get it. And so I'm just curious, thinking about Vernita, who just told the typical mill spouse story. Vernita, I mean, I can't tell you, I taught water aerobics at the YMCA in Hinesville, Georgia. I mean, we've done it all these different. So you all understand, and you obviously know the talent that we bring. I'm curious about how you look at, and I also, if I lived in Nevada, I'm interested in both of you, working for both Resorts World and Williams-Sonoma. And I think a lot of spouses are as well. But how do you look at that resume like Vernita's and find those skills that you need for any of your positions that are open? How do you do that? Because I think that scares a lot of employers off, that varied resume.
So I believe you have to know how to translate the skills. So understanding the skill set of the spouse is the first thing, and not just looking for someone to fit a particular just role or job position. You want to look for spouses that are going to be a great asset to the company. So sharing the information with other leaders, if they happen not to happen, you don't have a role for them in your area, just making sure that you tap in and that you make sure that the skill sets are looked at over a company, not just in your area.
And do you often, if you see the skill sets that, because most have military spouse skills that we have, can go over all kinds of different positions. Is there training involved where you'll take on someone who's applied, an applicant who may not have all of the experience you're looking for, but is trainable? Does that ever happen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely look for attitude and aptitude in the majority of our positions, and we're willing to train. So absolutely, we welcome them all.
Yeah, and for us, the great thing is the minute that somebody actually admits they're a military spouse on their application. So I always tell all of our spouses and who they're referring, tell us that, because then that's really easy for me to look at and say, okay, really quick, I can make the determination that already I'm excited to talk to this person, not even necessarily based on the resume, because I do get the job hoppiness. We're not scared of that anymore. So, and for us, the great thing about our operations is I would meet with the military spouse, and obviously we would determine what are they looking for, what's important to them, and really at the end of the day, a personality, the drive. Again, a lot of the intangibles you can't teach. There's so many different roles in the care center operations that are really just looking for that sort of personality. And when it comes to different sort of opportunities, this one thing I love about our company is call it our entry level role, for instance, our work from home customer service role. About 95% of our opportunities aren't external, they're all internal. So I always say, if you can sacrifice a smidge, heaven forbid, when it comes to really coming in, understanding the culture for a short period of time, we've got positions from training all the way up to, pretty executive level finance roles, project management positions. And most of our associates transition into these roles during, relatively short period of time. If they don't necessarily have every single skill set on the resume, but again, let's say they have 70% of what we're looking for, we're going to want to basically come in, kind of breed them into the culture and then get them exposed to these different departments. And another thing we do that's kind of cool too is we also provide what we call like temporary projects. So let's say you come in as a customer service associate, and let's say there's a retail support role that's considered to be a lead, a little bit more of a specialized position. Throughout the years, or year, I mean, we'll have several occasions where we bring on temporary staff for a variety of different projects. That's where a lot of our transfers come into play, and they get exposed to these different departments, which obviously now leads to different skill sets. Well, we just hired a project manager that pays very, very, very well, that doesn't have a traditional project management background, that's actually had 4 care center roles. And she also transferred over to our retail operations out of California, worked on a 2-year project with them. I mean, she went from a fairly entry-level role now to making close to 6 figures.
Wow.
And a lot of that has to do with just kind of the holistic approach of giving people opportunities within the business to kind of learn different parts of the business.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it sounds like the sky is the limit, certainly at Williams-Sonoma, but
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And Josh, I wanted to follow up on something you mentioned a second ago. You suggested that military make sure to tell the prospective employer that they are a military. Is there a certain way you recommend they go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we have our EEOC information, that we fill out, diversity and EEOC information. There is a section when it comes to military spouse, transitioning veteran. I always say just, don't be bashful, put that in there. Sometimes people don't like to put that information in there. We actually seek that information. And then not to mention too, when anybody ever applies for one of our positions, there's also going to be a source on there too, asking, hey, how'd you happen to hear about us? I always say if anybody puts military spouse, anything in that source, because it's basically an editable source code. So you can type whatever you want to type in there. If anybody types military spouse employment partnership, military spouse hiring event, military spouse anything, we hone in on that. And our commitment to the military spouse community is if you put military spouse in there, you're guaranteed an interview, plain and simple. So now I can't guarantee a job, obviously, depending on this situation, but you're guaranteed an interview.
Well,
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Liz.
I just wanted to know, so is there a cover letter? Because we get this question all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you include it in your cover letter?
A cover letter for us is not really necessary. Just write on the application. Again, if you put military spouse right on the application, we see that in our applicant tracking system. So, and then in some cases too, again, I'm one of the few that actually goes through all of our resumes, bizarrely enough. I can look at a resume without even somebody basically stating they're a military spouse and pick up pretty darn quick. This looks like a military spouse to me. They've been in 5 states in 7 years. They've had 4 jobs in 5 years. I can read in between the lines. And then I'll check the EEOC information, and sure enough, they did provide that. But the easiest for us, at least for the Williams-Sonoma process, is again just the source code. Just put military spouse in there anywhere, because that's the first thing we look at when we dig through our hundreds of applications. Is what are the sources that are working that are providing our best candidates? Military spouse is one. There's another vendor we use called Flex Jobs that brings amazing candidates to us. So we go through our sources first, and then we obviously start from the top down. And so I always say, if you're a military spouse, put it in there, because we look for that. So.
Well, and Syreeta I'm sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. No.
Well, I was just going to say, Syreeta, another fellow employer, this question's coming up a little bit. Kelly is asking if you echo Josh's disclose the military spouses when applying.
Absolutely. We track here at Resorts World as well. So I would definitely encourage to, like I said, you can't make anyone who is applying disclose that, but I would definitely encourage, through the application process, we actually have that in our EO as well.
And same for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a formal cover letter. It could just be anywhere if you indicate that on the application.
Definitely, yes.
Okay. And I would echo that as an employer at the Vegas Chamber. We always look for resumes or applications with military background because we know the work ethic, we know the value. And so same for me as an employer. I would also recommend the very same. So Megan, can you share with us a little bit more about that survey of the 450 active members here in Southern Nevada? What type of jobs are the 70% unemployed looking for?
Yes. So first of all, I want to say thank you all so much for saying to put that on applications. That is such a struggle for military spouses. But to get to the question, I don't have direct numbers of what these spouses who are actively looking for jobs, what industry they're in, but I do have information on what industries all of our spouses are in. Actually, we have a high amount who are entrepreneurs, but I find that that's more out of necessity than want. You know, they are making it work for them by creating their own workspace. So you could probably gain employees back from that field if you're looking. And then, sorry, let me just pull up these numbers so that I get it correctly. About a quarter are in education, about 12% are in healthcare and human services, same for nonprofit, about 6% are in HR, IT, and real estate. And then I know we also have members who work in, they're lawyers, they work in finance, they're engineers. It's really a wide variety of careers that we have people interested in.
All right, excellent. We're closing in on the top of the hour here. This has been just a fabulous discussion, and I love hearing all the stories and the best practices you all have shared that will be great information for not only employers, but potential employees on the line. So to wrap things up a little bit, we want to encourage more questions, but I'd like to go around the room and sort of invite some closing comments as we watch for any more questions that might come up. And Vernita, welcome again to Southern Nevada and to the entire state of Nevada. We're thrilled to have you. What would be your closing remarks for today?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Again, I would just want to encourage employers to not, to not shy away from military spouses due to our extensive resumes and those gaps in employment, because I guarantee you, we love working, we love our new communities, and when we find a job, we are dedicated to that job, and we are flexible and we want to work with you. So I just encourage you to look for military spouses. We have an amazing skill set, and again, we do love our communities, we love giving back. So just give us a chance.
Excellent, excellent. And to contact Hiring Our Heroes, we want to give you the website. It's nevada@hiringourheroes.org. nevada@hiringourheroes.org. Liz, let's go over to you for some final thoughts.
Well, I'd have to say, as an Army spouse, as I mentioned, of a 25-year career soldier, and working on military spouse employment as long as I have, this makes me so happy on Military Spouse Appreciation Day to talk to two employers who should be the model for other employers. I mean, I'm just about to cry because we've come so far, and it's getting better and better, and I'm just so happy. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. It's been an exhilarating conversation. Syreeta, closing comments from you, and thank you again, and congratulations on your opening.
Thank you so very much for that, and thank you for inviting me. I would just like to extend to Vernita or Liz, if you are truly interested in any opportunities here at Resorts World, please, I'll give you my contact information, and we can definitely have a conversation.
Wow, how exciting is that? Oh my goodness, Syreeta. Josh, let's go to you for some closing remarks too.
Yeah, Syreeta took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to put my my information on here too as well. Yeah, this was a very great chat, and just to give you an idea, I mean, we're hiring another 10,000 people this year, so it's going to be another really busy year. So I can assure you, whether here locally in the valley, or somebody has a family member that's just struggling to find work in a different state or something like that, I will do my darndest to try to help them out in any facet. And if that's joining the Williams Sonoma family, then even better. So yeah, I really appreciate the invite here. I love the kudos, but again, like I said, it takes a village, and we are far from perfect. We're constantly tweaking this thing to try to make it better and better. And yeah, we just appreciate everybody's support and feedback, and love to hear from everybody after this call here too. So I'm going to put my information on here.
Yeah, put your information.
So yeah.
Excellent. And Megan, let's go over to you next.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who participated in this panel today. It really was so encouraging as a military spouse to hear from employers who are actively trying to hire military spouses. As the lead for our local network, I can't wait to bring this back to our members and hopefully get them to watch and be encouraged as well. If you are an employer and you're looking to connect with our military spouses, please do email that nevada@hiringourheroes.org. That comes directly to me. I am happy to get you connected with our spouses if you're looking to hire.
Well, fabulous. Thank you all so much. We can't tell you how much we appreciate your time today and your efforts. Thank you all for your service. Oh my goodness. It looks like we've pretty much covered all of our questions. We do appreciate everyone taking the time to join us today. You can see the information there on your screen. And please remember to hire, advocate for, and train military spouses here in Southern Nevada. Also, if you're an employer who is interested in recruiting from this pool of candidates, we, of course, as you see, we have this information in the chat and on the screen. And certainly if you need any more information, feel free to contact us at the Vegas Chamber. We'll also email out this information to everybody who's registered. So thank you all again so much for joining us. Thank you for your service, and we appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.